Dre Baldwin, balloverseas.com, the Overseas Basketball Blueprint. Consider this the quick start guide for anybody who wants to play basketball overseas. So I already gave you the information for the people who are brand new. But if you just want a quick start guide, I'm going to tell you 4 specific things that you need to know to play overseas basketball right now. You know somebody who wants to play, you want to play, here's what you need to do. Number 1, you got to have your game together. Have your shit together. What does this mean? You think you can play professional basketball, whatever your skills are, make sure you actually have those skills. Make sure you actually have the ability to grab a rebound, guard somebody, run a pick and roll, make a three-pointer. You can play above the rim. Whatever it is your game is, make sure you have that game. Make sure also that you are in game shape. When you show up to a professional basketball opportunity, I don't care if it's an exposure camp, if it's a tryout, if you just sign a straight-up contract to play for a team, do not show up out of shape. Don't show up 10 pounds overweight. Don't show up looking like you haven't worked out in 3 weeks. Don't show up looking like your game doesn't look the way it looked on video. Whatever way you looked on video, be at least that good or better than that. Whatever they're expecting of you, be at that level. And if you don't know what they're expecting of you, ask the team what they're expecting of you. Ask another player who has already played at the pro level what is expected of you. Do not show up unprepared. Have your game together. Have your conditioning together. Have your skills together. Have your mind ready. Be ready to actually perform. All right, everybody got that. In professional basketball, you are in a performance-based business. That's what sports is. It is all based on performance. The people who get the jobs and people who keep their jobs, the people who get paid, are the ones who perform. And those who fail to perform, they find themselves on the outside looking in, talking about what they used to do or what they could have did. All right, make sure that's not you. Second point, we're talking about the quick start guide for professional basketball players. You need to get seen. There are more players trying to play professional basketball than there are jobs in professional basketball, meaning everybody ain't gonna make it. Everybody cannot get in. You have to get yourself seen. So if you're playing college basketball right now, that's a great thing. Play as well as you can there. Get your game footage. Make yourself a highlight video. If you don't know how to make one, hire somebody to make you a highlight video, and make sure that you get that video distributed to whoever you believe can help you get your opportunity, whether that be an agent, most likely, or a team directly. It's probably not going to be a team directly. Usually it's going to be an agent. Agents are the go-between between the teams and the players. If agents didn't exist, players would just be reaching out to teams. The problem is there are too many players out there that would be reaching out to teams for a team to even know where to begin. That's why they work with agents. Agents basically are the filter who filter out the bad players and only show teams the good players. That's the reason agents exist. That's why you want to have one. So you need to get yourself seen by an agent who will then believe in your game, who can then subsequently go and pitch you and get you seen by those professional teams. That's why you want that agent working as a middleman for you. Thing is, agents don't just represent any old player. They represent players who they believe can actually get jobs, who are actually good enough to get jobs overseas. I have a book called Basketball Agents Decoded. You're going to learn about that very soon. If it's not out already, it will be out very soon. I'll tell you about that in a moment. So the second thing is you got to get seen. If you don't have an agent, you don't have good stats, you haven't played in college, you don't have any game video with which you can sell yourself to an agent, here's what you can do. You can go to an exposure camp. I have a book called The Truth About Overseas Basketball Exposure Camps. So in case you're not sure where to go with exposure camps, you don't want to get scammed, you don't want to waste your money, I got a book that explains that. I'll tell you about that as well later on in this video or this episode, whatever you happen to be listening to this. Getting yourself seen in an exposure camp, you can play against other players who are pro level and in front of an audience of people who are professional basketball decision makers, and they're going to give you the video. So now you have some good video. Now you can get an agent. Now you can get seen. You can do the same thing that player who played in college did. So if you don't have good stats or game film from college, you can go to an exposure camp, and whatever you didn't do in that 4 years of college ball, you can do in 2 or 3 days at an exposure camp and get the exact same result, which is having great game footage, which you can sell yourself to an agent with, and that agent can then decide to sign you, and then they can sell you to a professional basketball team overseas. So the second thing you must do is you must get seen. The third thing, in is better than out. What that means is any opportunity that a professional basketball team is giving you a look and paying attention to you and maybe giving you a shot to play is better than not having a look, not being paid attention to, and not having a shot to play. Meaning, if you think you're good enough to be signed to a pro basketball contract making $10,000 a month, but no team has offered that to you, and the team says, look, we'll offer you a tryout contract and we'll pay you $2,000 for your 1 month tryout here with us, and if we like you at the end of the month, we may sign you to a contract for a little bit more money than that. Don't say, well, I'm too good for that, I'm better than this opportunity, I want a better opportunity than that, because you may not get it. Now, I'm not going to tell you that you absolutely have to take the tryout opportunity, but I think you need to be very smart. You need to talk to your agent, talk to your family, talk to whoever you trust. And you can reach out to me if you want to. Talk to whoever you trust about that decision before you turn down an opportunity to be in that will leave you on the outside. Because the last thing you want is to turn down a tryout opportunity because you think you're good enough to be signed straight up, but then nobody offers you a tryout or to sign you, and you end up going the whole season sitting out, not playing for anybody because you turned down that opportunity. Remember what I've said, slow motion is better than no motion. Having an opportunity to be in the game is better than being completely outside of the game. So take an opportunity when you get one and make something happen with that opportunity. Even if it means going to an exposure camp or just an open tryout with a team, is better than just being a player who's sitting at home talking about how much game you got, yet you have no opportunity to actually show it. So make sure you get in when you get your chance to get in. The fourth thing, staying in the game is a lot harder than getting in the game. All right. As with a lot of things in life, it is easy to get started. It's easy to begin something. It's easy to, get your feet in the door, but it's much harder to keep yourself in that room or keep that thing going or to build on a success to the next success and the next success after that. So once you get on in professional basketball, understand that keeping your job is harder than getting your job. If you think it's hard to get a job, imagine how hard it's going to be to keep a job. Keeping a job means you're showing up every single day in practice and doing your thing. I mean, you're showing up to the games and doing your thing. You're helping your team win. You're helping your teammates get better. These are all things that are expected of you, and you're carrying yourself as a professional. These are all things and more that are expected of you as a professional basketball player. Remember that first word, professional basketball player. Being a professional in anything in life is a whole set of rules that a lot of basketball players don't quite understand until they get in the game, and then they realize when those rules smack them in the face that this is what's expected of them as a player. So make sure you are ready to show up every single day and do your job. Make sure you're ready to carry yourself as a professional. Make sure you're ready to deal with the tedium of the job, meaning practice every day, the trainings, showing up early, staying late. These are all things that will be expected of you as a player, especially if you're an American player, an import player, playing in any country overseas. If you're not a professional, that team will get rid of you simply because your influence is not going to raise the level of the other players on that team. That's what they're expecting you to do. If you're not doing it, you'll be gone. All right, you got in the game, but you didn't stay in the game. I know a lot of players who had cups of coffee. They had a little Starbucks in the game. They weren't able to stay in the game simply because they didn't understand that professionalism, or they violated any one of these 4 points that I'm giving you here. So let me recap. These are the 4 points for the quick start guide to playing professional basketball overseas. Number one, have your shit together. Whatever skills you think you have, whatever game you think you got, make sure you actually have that game and you are able to show it when it matters. Number two, you got to get yourself seen. There are more players trying to play ball overseas than there are opportunities in ball overseas, meaning you got to get yourself seen above all those other players. It's not just about being better than them, because a lot of players are good who never get their opportunity because they never get seen. Nobody knows them. Nobody's ever heard of them. So make sure you're ready to get yourself seen, whether it's through a tryout, through an agent, or an exposure camp, or through game footage from your college experience. If you don't have game footage from college, you need to do one of those other things. Go to an exposure camp, get your game footage, and then take the next steps. Number three, it takes more than talent to stay in the game. All right, there's a lot of players with talent who just don't last in the game simply because it takes more than that. It takes professionalism. There are a lot of players trying to get in. There's a zero-sum game of professional sports, and that everybody can't win. All right, everybody can't be in. Everybody can't be doing it. There's a limit to the number of people who can participate, meaning you're going to have to beat other people out for your job, and some of those people may be your friends, maybe people you don't know, but they're trying to beat you the same way you're going to have to beat them. And number four, it's much easier. And the third thing also I forgot to say, number three, is you want to get in. Being in is better than being out. Okay, so any opportunity you get to be in, be in. All right, any opportunity that can give you a shot to get seen, especially in person, take that opportunity. You don't want to be high and dry without any opportunity to get yourself seen, wondering what happened to all your opportunity, even though you got all the talent. And number four, is much easier to get in the game than it is to stay in the game. Just because you have talent, just because you have skill, you had great game footage, that stuff can get you in, but what are you going to do once you get in? Are you a professional? Are you showing up every single day? Are you working hard in practice? Are you bringing up the level of your teammates? Do you have the game that you claim to have? If you're not doing these things, if you're not carrying yourself as a professional mentally, then you may not stay in the game, even though you got started in the game. It's very easy to start things. It's much harder to finish them. So that's your quick start guide to playing professional basketball overseas. Now, here's the book. I gave you the video, took 10 minutes. Now I'm giving you the book. I've already paid for this book, which is called the Overseas Basketball Blueprint. Keys to getting yourself started to play professional basketball abroad and get paid. The things you need to do, the things you need to know, the things you need to avoid, and the things you need to not do if you want to play ball overseas, all covered in this 237-page book. And here's the thing. I'm not selling you this book. There is no price tag on this book. This book is zero, free. All you got to do is cover the shipping. I've already paid for the book. We got a stack of these books ready to ship out to whoever is ready to play ball overseas right now. The link is balloverseas.com. The link is right down there in the video description. Balloverseas.com. If you want to play professional basketball overseas, all you do is cover the shipping. The book is already paid for. The Overseas Basketball Blueprint. Now you got your quick start guide to playing overseas. Let's see you do it. Work on your game. Dre, all